I always, there we go.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You wanted to say something?
Yeah.
You want to ask something?
How much like HTML and CSS do you know?
Me or my daughter, because the course is basically for my daughter. But yeah, I learned HTML years ago, like 15 years ago, something like that.
I see.
But not too much into the new HTML5 yet. So I'm looking what changed. The last one I programmed was HTML3 or something. So quite some time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, the differences aren't, like there's no fundamental differences, obviously. We're still using tags and stuff, There is definitely more features, some deprecations. Sorry, here just getting set up. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. How is going?
Good, thank you. How is it going for you two?
Last time I don't really understand the Jquery.
Oh yeah. We'll be dealing with that more this time.
What is used for?
Jquery, it's used in place of JavaScript for interacting with the website, like making a button. preferable, you need Jquery.
Not just the button, right?
Yeah, basically all interactions in a website. Are really all dynamic stuff, like adding tags, that sort of thing.
So it will be the same script like that we copy from the internet. It will be the same.
Yes.
Mm. Thank you.
Hello.
What script is that? Do you have a link to the script or something?
Yes, actually. Here you go. 1 second. We're going to go ahead and jump on repo now. Might as well. Hello, Wazoo. I believe if you've been to one of my classes before, you all know of REPL. I'll put it in the chat just to be safe though. And toolbar, create, type in HTML, go to HTML, CSS, JS, and click Create REPL. And
Okay, sure, I've done it.
the link Saul was talking about is the Jquery link. Shoot, Jquery. I will post it in chat. Shoot, where is it? Okay, Jquery link. Google. There we go. Wait. Sorry, taking a second to find it here. There we go. I will now post this in chat. And you can take that code, copy it, and put it in your header. Go to line 8, click enter a couple times. Then copy this into the header. And now you can use Jquery.
Okay, understood.
All right. And before we start, let's all go ahead and introduce ourselves, because we have a couple people new to the class. Finya, why don't you go first?
Well, I'm the father of Finya, actually. Finya is still sleeping. We are in Thailand. So, yeah, my daughter is 9 years old and just started she had a Scratch class and do Scratch programming a little bit. She had a little bit experience in Python, and well, now it's about she would like to make her own website, basically. And yeah, that's kind of it. And I'm her father, and at the moment I'm covering for her, and we'll go over the topics with her later when she's awake.
All right, nice. And Saul, you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, I'm Saw, and I interested in JavaScript. I like to learn new things, and maybe just for fun, if not get a job for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, to how do we host the website? We need to buy the.
Well, the main thing to host a website would be having a computer that can download things, obviously. It's possibly do REPL, but yeah, there's a few steps to hosting a website. They're pretty easy. Once you have the actual code for the website, you can buy a domain, and then you just need somewhere to host your actual code, which a good place is Firebase. That's what I use. That have the database over there for me. But there's other places, even just like Google. I think, yeah, Google has a domain hosting thing.
But for now, for the trial ones, we can just use the REPL.
Yeah.
That one that REPL offers, right?
Yeah, just for learning, I like to use REPL, and it actually does technically host a website for you. Like you guys can go to.
Yeah, exactly. We get a link.
Yeah.
Yes, we get a link we can share with others.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but once you make like a more like real website, then yeah, you can use GoDaddy. I know it's good. But by the time you're making more real websites, you can probably use something like Firebase. Firebase with it. And yeah, I'll show you guys how to do that, in the future eventually.
Okay.
All right. Lucky, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, my name is Lecky, and actually, I don't really have any experience with IT at all. I just know the basic like Microsoft, email, all those stuff because my background is more like in accounting and sales. But I'm very much interested in, learning what you are teaching right now.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Wazoo, why don't you, if you like it, if you unmute, you can introduce yourself a little bit. Or you can type in chat if you'd like. All right, in that case, let's begin with REPL. As I said earlier, we just to use jQuery, we'll just type in this script thing. I'll post it in chat one more time. Today we'll be going over maybe some review of basic HTML and then mostly looking into jQuery a little bit. All right, sorry. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is on line 14, I'm going to get rid of this src equals script.js part. I just want a script tag. I want to be able to write my JavaScript inside the actual file. That way I can see it better. And then, got a notification from somewhere. I have no idea where it is though. Okay. We are going to start by making a simple button. I say simple, it is not very simple to create a button. First, let's just add an h1 so that we don't have hello world as our website. We'll go lesson sign, h1 greater than sign. And then I will type in click this button. That is the premise of our website. And then below that, I will add my button. I'll go lesson sign, button, greater than sign. And it makes the end one for me. Button is just another tag in HTML. And in between my button tags, I'll write click me. And if I run, I get a little button that says click me. You may notice that if I click it, nothing happens. And that's because I haven't set up in JavaScript a way to do something when the button is clicked. So to do that, I will type in my script, in between my script tags, I will type $, left parenthesis, quotation mark. This bit of code here will allow me to, in the JavaScript, find the actual button I'm looking for, find the actual button tag. And for now, I'll just type in button. There is a more better way of doing this, but for now, I'll type in button. Keep it simple. Let's go ahead and I'll give everyone a chance to write that and type in chat when you're done, or if you have problems. All I've done here is made a header, a button, and then added the beginning of a interaction script. Oh, there we go. Looks good. Looks good, Lucky. All right. All right. Now, all this has done is basically create a variable. All it's done is it grabbed the actual button, and now I have it. And to store it somewhere, I actually need to use my JavaScript knowledge and create a variable. This kind of a merging of JavaScript and HTML. I can go var, and then the name of my button, which I would name button, equals, and then my low code here. All this is done is create a variable named button and set it equal to the location of the actual button.
JavaScript, no semicolon in the end of the line needed?
You technically do need the semicolon, good job. But JavaScript actually go through each line and add semicolons for you. So while you definitely used to need, the semicolons, now you don't really need it. So I just don't really teach it.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, you used to need it. Used to be like a meme within JavaScript, like missing semicolon, where is it? But not anymore. All right, so var button equals $, left parenthesis, quotation mark, button. I now have a variable that contains the name or the location of my actual button. So to do something with the button, I can type in button, referencing my variable name, and then on, or no, sorry, not on click, it's just dot click, button dot click, and then left parenthesis, and I get the right parenthesis here, so button dot click. What this will do is, okay, give me the location of the button. Now add this dot click feature. This is a very Jquery-esque thing. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on here, but all you need to know is that by going dot click, you have said, okay, when this button is clicked, do this thing, and the thing that will be done will be put in the parentheses. All right, give everyone a chance to catch up and type in done in the chat when you have written the code. All right. Now, how does jQuery know what we want to do when the button is pressed? It will know by running a function. Basically, the .click feature, what it wants is the name of a function that you have that will be run when the button is clicked. So to create a function, we can write near the top. I like to write my function near the top. You don't have to, but I will write var, then the name of my function, which I'll name clicked, because it will be run when a button is clicked, equals function, left parenthesis, and then left curly brace. And then in the curly braces, I will click enter. A function is a lot like a function in math. It's something that has, it stores code to be run later. Not a great representation of a function in math, but very similar in that it's something that stores, an equation. All right, so we have var clicked equals function, and type in chat when you are done. Also, I know some people have varying levels of knowledge in JavaScript and stuff. So if I ever say something that makes no sense, just tell me and I'll explain it. Okay, var clicked equals function. Now, what code do we want to run? We can run whatever code we want. I'm going to go ahead and just run console.log, left parenthesis quotation mark, like we've always done. Console.log, I've been clicked. All right, and now if we run it, and actually, a little quiz here. What will happen right now? Look at the code. What will happen when I click this button? You can even try it yourself and post in chat what will happen when I click the button. Expected to show the string in the console window. That is what's expected. But if you'd like, you can write the code, click on the button, or click run, click on the button, and see what happens. Nothing, that is correct. Nothing will happen. If I click it, I get nothing. The reason is that we never actually put in the click function, or the click part of jQuery here on line 23, we never told it what function to run. So it has no idea what function it should be running, so it does nothing. So to fix that, I will type inside the click function, I'll type it clicked. This may seem a little confusing. We have a kind of what's a function calling another function. Don't think about it too much. Just think you're giving the click thing the name of the function you want to be run. Jquery handles the rest. So if I click run now and click on the button, I get in the console, I've been clicked. And I can keep clicking it. And as you see, REPL just says it's gotten the I've been clicked console log 14 times. And I can keep clicking it. I'll give everyone a chance to get that to work and tell me when you're done.
I have everything the same as yours, but for some reason, at the bottom on the console, they say can't find variable colon, and it is the $sign.
All right.
So I don't know what I did wrong.
Okay. Yeah. What's probably wrong? There's actually two things wrong, I see. One is that you probably don't have this set up. Do you have the big script tag here in your header? I'll post it in chat one more time. If you ever see this, can't find variable $sign, it's probably because you haven't set up jQuery. So HTML or JavaScript see the $sign, like, what is that? I have no idea. And so it's getting an error. I will also say one other thing is that your code is a tad behind. It has button.click and then nothing in the parentheses. It should have the clicked part here.
Okay.
All right. And Saul, how are you doing?
Yeah, I done.
All right.
Yeah, God, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, let's try to give the clicked function a little bit more ability. Right now, it just logs, which is nice, but a user wouldn't actually see that. They don't have a console. In fact, I can actually, on my REPL, I can do this new tab feature on the top left. I get like a whole website. And for them, if you click me, it does nothing. So they're going to think it's broken. A programmer will be able to go Command Option I, get a console, and see I've been clicked. They're going to appreciate what I've done, but the user is not. So let's fix that. We can start by, instead of just console.logging something, we'll actually add something to the website. Does anyone happen to just know how to do that? I know I've showed a couple of you. Does anyone remember how to do it? How to use jQuery to add something to a site? All right, it's totally fine. I will show you. What you can do is go $, parentheses, quotation mark, like we've done. And this time, instead of typing in a tag we've written, we'll type in body. This is the same tag as button, it's just up here, and it refers to the entire body. We will now do one thing to expedite things a bit, to make things easier. Instead of making a variable, getting the thing and then utilizing it like we do here, we're making a variable for the location of the button and then we're referencing the location of the button, we'll just do everything on the same line and go $, body, dot, append, A-P-P-E-N-D, append. Append, left parenthesis, quotation marks. And then in the quotation marks, we will write what we want to add to the site. I will write, you have been clicked. And if I run it and I click the button, I get you have been clicked added to the website. I'm adding text. I'll give everyone a chance to try to get this working and tell me when we're done.
And how would I put this into an P or into a div or something?
Yes. Well, there are actually two different things here you can do. One, which I'll show you all, is adding an entire tag instead of just adding text. Because right now, if I open new tab, click the button a couple times, and then go inspect on that part, you can see I'm not writing new and like any new tag. I'm actually just writing the text into the HTML, which isn't great for like CSS, you know? Like, yeah. Instead, I can go $, P greater than sign, and then at the end, I'll go $, / P greater than sign. I have the beginning tag and the end tag. And now instead of just adding, you have been clicked as text, I have added an entire tag, the entire paragraph tag to the website. And as you see, the P tag comes with extra styling. So I get a little bit nicer here. And this time, if you look at the website.
Even I do it as a I append it as a text. Is it registered to the DOM immediately so I can access it later?
Say that one more time.
Is it registered to the DOM in real time so I can access this P tag later by JavaScript or by Jquery?
Yeah. You'd have to do it in a way that, yeah, actually, if you see on the inspect, it does actually add it literally to the website. You would have to write your code in a way to, you know, order it right. Otherwise, you try to get the P tag and then it doesn't exist yet. But yeah, you totally can. I will show you that soon. Actually, I'll show you guys how to do that. It's a cool kind of interaction you can do.
Is this P is mean the paragraph?
Yes, the P means paragraph. It's the same P tag we've been using all the time here.
Oh, okay. So this last time you used the BR is the same. Is output the same thing?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I add the P tags, my output was a little bit more unstylized. Like, see, I have them all just stacked on top of each other and stuff.
In the last class you used BR, like B boy and then R.
Oh yeah.
Is that a new line?
Oh right, yeah. Last class, yeah, I did it a slightly different way. Instead of using P tags, I just
It's the same. Yeah?
BR. Yeah.
Is output the same?
Yeah, the output ends up being the same. Yeah. It would.
Don't you have to put don't you have to put a slash before the BR?
No, actually. BR is called a single line tag or something like that, like open-ended tag. BR, you just put BR and then it makes the break.
So something like strict HTML doesn't exist anymore?
Oh yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. I finish.
Even p tag, you actually don't have to have the end tag anymore. The end tag is optional, which is cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah, see, it still works. Also, H1s, like it would still create the H1. There would be no error. It does make everything below it an H1, so you get weird like functionality, but there are very few actual like errors in HTML anymore. All right. Shoot. But yeah, I still like to add p tags even though it's optional. Or the end tag. It makes sense for me.
But it's backward compatible, right? So if I still use semicolons, if I still use backslash like I did 20 years ago, I can still do it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's totally fine. They won't fault you for adding more code. Goodbye, Saul. Yeah, I'll post the recording after class.
Thank you.
All right. But yeah, all your code will still work. There are a couple deprecated things, but I find that HTML says, "Oh, this thing's deprecated," but you can still use it. Like it. Sorry, it's getting a little off topic for the newer people, but center tags. They've said they're deprecating it for years now, but you can still use them. All right.
What do you use instead now? How do you center your text now?
Text align center or other CSS things.
Oh, okay, by CSS. Yes,
Yeah.
I see.
I use text align, or there's another one, I forget, but yeah, just CSS stuff. All right, so. And yeah, just quick review, by the way, BR tag, that means break. It just adds like an enter tag or like an enter key on your keyboard, adds a new line. So you can like that, looks nice. All right. You can also append H1s, just gotta make sure to end them. On the string, REPL isn't going to add the ending H1s for you, so you need to make sure to think about that. There you go. And let's go ahead here and try to add some of our JavaScript knowledge, some of our more advanced JavaScript knowledge to HTML. My first thing I'm thinking of is for loops. Or I should let you go a while loop to be simple. So let's say instead of just wanting to add one thing when you click me, you want to really annoy your users and create like 20 of them. You could just, copy and paste a pin 20 times, but that would be not only annoying to read as a programmer, but tough for you to write. So let's go ahead and create a while loop. To make a while loop, we go var I equals 0. And then, and sorry for people who don't have a good grasp of JavaScript right now. You are learning new stuff though. So there you go. Var I equals 0, while I is less than or equal. Wait, no, sorry, just less than 20. While I is less than 20. Curly braces, and in the curly braces, we will copy the body tag here. We'll take it out and then add it inside the while loop. And if we run it, we click it. Either nothing is happening or I have lagged out REPL. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh shoot, I have made a grave error. As you can see,
shouldn't we increase the I variable somewhere?
Sorry, say again.
Shouldn't we increase the I variable somewhere?
There we go. I have created an infinite loop. I did not mean to, but when making while loop, I always forget the I++. I'm used to for loop, which are the easier way to make while loops. But all right, I'm gonna need to stop this somehow. I don't quite want to exit page, but maybe I have to. Okay, REPL died on me there. Okay, after the body, we'll type in I++. If you've worked with while loops before, this is probably a good review. Click run, and now if I click me, I get 20 H1 that says that you have been clicked. I will give everyone a chance to write that down. Type in that code. All right, good job. And yeah, post in chat when you're done. All right. And before I move on here, any questions about anything here? Just to make sure. All right. Let's go ahead for a bit of review. I'll have everyone go ahead and, or you know what? Does anyone know how to do the same thing here, but as a for loop instead? I know to the people, some people it's the review of a long time ago because we've mostly been covering HTML for a while now. But anyone remember how to do the same thing, but with a for loop instead? All right, let me show you, because it has been a while since I actually taught JavaScript. All right, to do the exact same thing, we can write for, left parenthesis, and then now var I equals 0. Or actually, you know what? Let me show you guys the better way of doing this. I'll write var I out here, outside the line, and I actually won't set it to anything. And then in the for loop, I won't put a variable. I know this may look weird, but it is a correct way of doing it. Basically, you're declaring the variable on the outside and not setting it to anything. Oh, there we go. Fina did it. Good job. I will say one thing you've probably just messed up on is having you still have another I++ at the end, but that was probably just copy pasted stuff. All right. I will say one thing to just talk about here is that there's a sort of a difference between having I equals 0, like setting it inside the for loop and declaring it outside. I won't go into the exact specifications of why it's better to set the the variable outside the for loop. It's just what's kind of done now. I know people tended to do this in the past, but now you kind of do it outside. For the sake of teaching, though, I'm still going to write it on the inside because that's how I like to do it, because I am not with the times very well. All right, var I equals 0, I is less than 20, I plus plus. We have each part that we would have been declaring in a while loop all inside one line, and each of them separated by semicolons. And the great thing about for loop is that it has all the needed things of a while loop. We are setting a variable. We are setting when the variable will end, or when our end condition is. And we're setting how much to increment I by. In this case, I plus plus, I increments by 1 each time. Oh, and also we'll do left parenthesis. I'll actually delete the right one and put the right one down here. All right, a lot of code there, interrupted by me talking about new stuff. I'll give everyone a chance to write this down and tell me when you're done, and if it works, because it should be the exact same thing as before.
Is there a difference if I use var or let?
Oh, right. Yeah. Actually, I will talk about var versus let in a second. All right. Yeah, let's talk about some of the newer JavaScript stuff. Okay, there are different versions of JavaScript. JavaScript has changed a lot since it was first made. And the current version is called ES6. Oh, yeah, ES6. I'll put that in my header. In the current version of JavaScript, we have extra things that we can do. It hasn't really changed anything from any other older version. There's just extra stuff. The main extra thing is instead of declaring variables by var, we can also declare them as let. And for everyone, I can declare it as let. What is the difference, you may be asking? Well, the difference is that var creates a variable globally. If you remember a long time ago, we talked about scope, which is where, let's say I have some variables here. Let's say I have let variables, okay? And let's say inside my function, I declared a var thing equals 2. Outside of my function, I can console.log thing. If I run it, thing is not defined. Oh wait, yeah, functions. Okay, not. Sorry, here I'm trying to figure out. Okay, maybe it stays in functions. Okay, sorry. My point is that variables, when they're defined, you can access that variable from anywhere. Apparently, you can't access from a function, but that's a different thing. But you can access them from anywhere within your code. They're called a global variable. Let, you can only access from stuff within the scope of it. So, for example, with let, you can only access variables that were created inside the function. For example, if I were to go var outside of the function, I go var. Wait, no, that won't work either. Okay. I'm not explaining this very well. I apologize. But you can even access global variables from another script, an entirely different script. And that's the problem. A global variable can be called on by plugins that you have in your code. The main example would be if I create a variable called add, right? Let's say I were to now add advertisements to my website, which is a common thing to do, right? You basically, they have a script that runs their ad, you put into your site or whatever, or however Google manages it. But if you were to create a global variable that conflicted with a variable they had, it would create problems and stuff. And so the answer to that is let. Let allows you to use variables just in the correct scope. It doesn't make big global variables that could conflict with other variables, both in your code and in other people's code. So while you don't have, you don't have to use let or var, it's not a big deal when in small projects. It is important, especially if you're thinking about having a bigger project, to be using things like let. I hope I explained that correctly, because I'm not exactly perfectly with the times. I use Angular, and that's all handled for me, so. All right, any questions about let versus var?
So which one would you use as a regular one, let or var in?
I would say that
standard?
as a regular, you should be using let, yeah. Let is basically now a complete replacement for var. You don't really use var anymore.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I used to talk to my friend like last time. I mentioned to you that she has been doing this for 20 years and she was asking me what I have been learning. So I sent her something and she did mention nowadays they already use let. They no longer using var at all.
Yeah, I actually probably shouldn't be teaching you var. I am just, I learned HTML 5 years ago, and then now I use Angular. And Angular, you don't really have variables the same way. It handles it for you. So I'm kind of in the past here, still using var. But yes, you should be using let. And in fact, from now on, I would just write let instead of var.
So basically it works the same, right? Just it's different writing, but the function, everything works the same.
Yeah, it would be.
I think what I understood is that the scope is a bit different, right? It's more limited, right? Let is more exclusive, so it's really for your scope here, for your program, and programs from outside cannot interfere with your variable.
Yeah.
If I understood it right.
Yeah, very good way of explaining it. Probably better than I did. Yeah, let is basically a complete replacement for it. Unless you're doing weird stuff, you're almost always going to be wanting to use let, and you just won't notice any difference. But to show a difference here, let me go ahead and, you don't need to write this down. I would just make another script tag here. Script, and then in the script tag, I'll give it the source of script.js, so I can use this file that REPL has. And now I haven't actually tried this. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to, in my script, put var thing equals I'm a variable. I will now in my script.js, which is an entirely different script tag, so it should be an entirely different file separate from your code. I'm going to write console.log thing. If I run it, I get I'm a variable. This is very dangerous because, especially in bigger, websites, you're going to have like multiple people working on different script tags, especially on something like Angular, a big framework. You have a ton of different components. That's why Angular does it for you, But you're going to have like 20 different script files maybe, and if one person is writing code, they're going to find out that they can't use like half of their variable names because someone else already took it. So yeah, it started as being for advertisements and also working together with different people, and now it's just a completely override of variables. In fact, if I were to go let thing, I should get an error. I'm not. I don't know why. Maybe because it's all in the script tag. I'm not sure. I know it's something to do with scope, but I'm not quite sure why I'm getting it in the same tag. I will look more into this and be able to explain to you better in the future. Just know it has something to do with scope and the dangers of having global variables. All right.
So something like private or public, like C# has it. Yeah, JavaScript still don't have it,
It's not
right?
like that. Yeah. I think yeah. There's also something called TypeScript, which also lets you do that more specifically. But yeah, it's a lot like that. Where yeah, you can't like access it and stuff. All right. But yeah, from now on, I will just be using let. Just know it's basically the same thing as var. It seems that even I cannot find the actual difference, but just know that there is a big and important difference. All right, and also just one little extra thing. There is also a const variable. Const just means that you cannot change it. For example, if later I were to go thing equals 2, and I run it, I get a variable, assignment to constant variable. Const just it's another ESX things. Make things easier just means if you have something you don't want to ever be changed, like really important number 42. Maybe you have like a variable for the limit to the amount of characters you can put in an input field, and that a lot of things in your code use this number, and you don't want to accidentally be changed by something. You can put const, and so if someone accidentally changes it, instant error. We won't be using const much, but just know it could be helpful when you're making stuff in the future. All right. Thank you for listening to my trying to explain some new JavaScript features for you. All right. Let's go ahead and try something here. We've used for loops and stuff. We use JavaScript stuff for loops, variables. We use functions. Let's go ahead and just try to find a use for an even more basic use of JavaScript, which is if statements. let's try to find a way where we can use if statements. How about we try to read the actual value of something? Like, let's say we wanted to read what the actual h1 says. Let's try, we'll go outside of our plex function here. We don't need it right now. Oh shoot, can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
I got some kind of weird notification. All right, anyways. Let, and then we'll say header is equal to $, parentheses, quotation mark, h1. This will get the location of the h1. And we'll also say dot value. And then I will console.log header. Let's see if this works. If I run it, I get undefined. Oh, right, because they need to go value and then like that. No, wait, okay, sorry. Value dot text. Just dot text. I'm getting, okay. Let's Google something. Let's learn how to Google something. Apparently, I don't know how to read a value in jQuery. So this is a lesson in Googling things. I'm gonna have you go out to the internet and find out for me in jQuery how to read value of header, of h1 or of tag, something along the lines of Googling how to read value of tag jQuery. And then post in chat when you have figured it out for me. Or maybe post the link to a website that explains it. All right, Lucky's got a website. Let's see. All right, looks like it says select a tag name of P and display its tag value .html and parentheses. All right, let's go ahead and give that a try. We get the same h1 as before and go .html parentheses. And now if we console.log header, we get click this button ESX or ES6. Good job, Lucky. It is very important for a programmer to know how to Google things because you will not remember half of the actual syntax here. You will start writing and forget the $, be like, how do I do this? And it's important to be able to look it up. Now, let's go ahead and instead of just console.logging it, we will type in if left parenthesis header is equal to, remember we need double equal signs, not just single equal signs, because that is setting it like we do in the variable. We need double equal signs to ask the question, is it equal to? If, and then in our parentheses, header is equal to quotation marks. So it's equal to the string, and then I'll just go ahead and copy and paste this string here. Shoot, Rebel did not like that. I'll copy and paste the string up here. So if it's equal to what we know is in fact the value of the header, we would go curly brace, and then we'll type in console.log, I don't know, yes. All right, I'll give everyone a chance to write that. And tell me when we're done. Hey, look at that, it works. Get yes.
Double and triple equal signs only make a difference with numbers, right?
Yeah. Triple equal sign is only used for the number 0. I know that's very specific, but if I remember correctly, you only use the triple equal sign when seeing if something equals 0. There may be another use, but I think that's the main one. Very specific.
Okay.
I believe it might be useful for like null values or something, or undefined, I think it's useful for, but very rare to actually have to use it. And you also don't need to say equal 0. Like I can put just equal 0, and I don't get a error. I do get thing is not defined. Actually, if for anyone following along here, do you have any guesses as to why I'm getting thing is not defined as an error?
You still have the call for the script.js, don't you?
Yes, good job. I do have this in my script, and I actually like deleted the thing variable in my script, so I still am getting an error there. I'll just go ahead and delete it, and I'm good now. But yeah, the triple equal has a use that you don't really need it. That's the way I teach something. You won't need it.
Right.
All right. Lucky, how are you doing here? Has anyone been able to get this part working, where you run it and you get yes as a console log?
Yes.
All right, good job. All right. Let's go ahead and try something that Finya's dad was talking about earlier, which is getting the value of something, or like interacting with a piece of element, like a tag that was created after the website is booted up. So let's try something here. I'm going to go ahead and give a class to the H1 that I will create when I create the H1. So I'll go ahead and go class equals, and then I'm going to use single quotation marks here. Class equals single quotation marks, and then the class will be, I'll call it header as my class. The reason I use single quotation marks is because I actually declare as a string here with double quotation marks. If I were to use double quotation marks here, I get weird behavior like that. So I need to only be using single quotation marks when I mean actual, strings inside my code that's being wrapped around double quotation marks. Same kind of thing would happen if I wanted to like console.log someone saying something, like console.log, she said hello, Fred. I can't use double quotation marks because HTML is using those for its actual code. I could also use single quotation marks on the outside and then double on the inside. In fact, that is the standard way of doing it. You use single quotation marks for basically all your code. The standard way is to use single quotation marks. I use double because, as I said before, I'm stuck in the past. All right. So all we're doing here is creating a class that we're putting onto each header. Oh shoot, I probably haven't explained class to you all, some of you. Class is basically just a way to, in your CSS, or in this case, maybe even in your JavaScript, to, like, it's like putting a name tag on a bunch of different tags. Like in my button, I can give it class header. I'm basically putting any tag I want into this group, and I refer to them all as header. So I have h1 class equals header. Now, let's say I wanted to create let's do this. Sorry, just thinking for a second here. Seeing how much time we have left, how much time we have to actually do something. Let's go ahead and after my clicked function, after the actual for loop, so I will click and then I'll run the for loop and then I will do something else. That other thing will be $, quotation mark, parenthesis quotation mark, like we've been doing. And then this time I'll do dot header. That means I will get all tags with the header class. Dot header. Dot text, or no, let's go dot color. Everything in this class, dot color, parenthesis, quotation mark, and then we'll do red. I believe that will work. No, dot color is not a function. Shoot. Okay. Dot style and then color red. No, dot style is not a function. All right. Same exercise. Go out on Google and find me how to change the color of a tag with Jquery. Something along the lines of how to change the color of a tag in Jquery. It is important that you put in Jquery, because otherwise they're going to give you CSS stuff. So if you would like it, go out to the open world, look up how to change the color of a tag in Jquery, and find me a good website explaining it. Ah, there we go. Then you knows it. All right, dot CSS, color red. Ah, yes, I remember that. So we'll go header dot CSS, S parenthesis, quotation mark, color. Outside the quotation mark, we do comma, parentheses, red. And don't worry, I have recorded this class, so when you leave it and think, wow, I have no idea, I don't remember all the tons of stuff that was taught in this class, you can come back and watch it again. Because I've really been jumping around here. But basically all I'm doing here is I'm taking every member of a class and making it the color red. So let's see if it works. And there we go. They're all red. I will give everyone a chance to write down this code. I will. There you go. The if statement isn't really important anymore, just the clicked function. And type in chat when you are done. All right. And now let's take a second to just appreciate what we're doing here. Because I know it may not look like much. You may think, oh, good, you've just made red H1s, but we've done more. See, HTML, when it goes through and writes the code, it first just writes what's in the HTML part. It doesn't even consider the JavaScript. It first renders the website without JavaScript, then it runs the JavaScript. So what we've done is we've actually created more to the HTML, right? We've written HTML outside of the HTML, and then we've manipulated the actual HTML. We've taken all the things with this class and given it a new CSS property after it's been created. It's called dynamic DOM manipulation, I believe. The main thing about it, the main keyword here is the word dynamic. Before, when we were writing just HTML, we were just writing a static website. It doesn't change, it stays still. Now we are writing a website that changes as you go. It's dynamic and moves. We are making it so when you click a button, you get 20 red H1s. Not particularly useful, but it's cool when you think about it in the, how its insides works, how it manipulates the DOM in a cool way. It's a very powerful tool.
This append always comes at the end of the page, right? Could I put something in the front of the page or in the middle of something?
Good question. I don't believe jQuery has a way to just append but at the top, What you can do though is not append to the body. For example, instead of body, I can type in, I don't want to type in H1 because then I might get weird stuff with like all the other H1s that are being created. But let's go ahead and give the H1 an ID equals title. ID is the same thing as class that we made here, just it's unique. It's a class that can only be used for one particular thing. I know like many times I try to like get an error with this kind of thing. Technically, you can just put another ID. You shouldn't though. I don't know why HTML doesn't like give an error when that happens, but IDs are for unique things only. You should only have one thing with the ID of title. That's the whole point. So now, instead of just writing body, I can write hashtag H1. Hashtag, just like we're doing in CSS, we are, it's a way to get, okay, ID H1. Hashtag H1. If I run it now, I get my H1s. Oh, wait, no, not ID H1, it's ID title. ID and then the name of the title, or the name of the ID. Run, and I go click me. I get you have been clicked, but it's above the button. It's being appended to the H1. And Rebel is actually hiding my button now, so I can't click it again. If I were to go on my new website though, click H1, scroll down, I can see my button near the bottom. Click that, I get more H1s. And if you look here, if I inspect it, you can see my H1s are actually being nested in my in the big H1. The H1 with the ID, I'm nesting the headers in here. I'm putting the headers inside the H1. For example, what I would do here is I would do something like, okay, inside the H1s, I will write another H1 called you have been clicked. And then 20 more times. I'm just doing it dynamically. I will show you more useful ways of doing stuff like this later, but we're now getting to near the end of the class. I'll go ahead first and ask any questions about anything today. Anything you'd like me to talk about more? Anything you're just confused about and would like me to talk about some more? All right.
So far, so clear. I have to play around a bit with it.
Yeah.
I will show that to my daughter and let her play around a bit.
All right, yeah.
She's more creative than I am.
Yeah, I will say some of this is, a little advanced. I'm showing a lot of different things. If she has a bit of a, background in Python, she might already know basically some of this stuff. It's just different syntax, and if statement in Python would be the exact same thing, just a colon here instead. But yeah, I will say for homework, go ahead and try to, go over this video a couple of times. And once you think you kind of understand it, try to make something of your own that's like this. You can even just take this code if you want and just change something about like make a button that puts different code, maybe a different color, puts maybe a different tag here. Make some kind of website that does some kind of fun interaction with a button, even if it's just counter.logging it. Just something you make on your own, take some time, create something fun, and then go ahead and in the Facebook group, you can do it in the Programming Master Universe one or the Thailand one, and go ahead and copy and paste the actual URL here. Copy and paste the URL and then make a post in either the Universe group. Getting a bunch of notifications here. Okay. Make a post in one of the groups and put in your URL so that people can actually go to your website and see what it does. For example,
Can also be in the Discord. Can also be in the Discord server, right?
Yeah, Discord server works too. Yeah, any of the servers. In fact, I will go ahead and put in the URL to my website here, and if you'd like it, you can go to it. It has a very particular functionality right now. All right. Okay, for the last little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and pop quiz. I'm going to go ahead and quiz you guys a little bit here. how, sorry, okay. Let's say I wanted to, instead of making the color red, I wanted to make the font size 20 pixels. If someone could write in the chat or even try in their REPL a code to try to do that. Even if you don't know how to do it right now, just kind of see, experiment. What kind of code would you write? It would probably begin with this header, .css thing. But what attributes would I put in here? If anyone has any guesses. All right. All right, let's go ahead and try both of those. Like you may have slightly misinterpreted it, but done something cool anyways. That is changing the font style, not the actual size. But either way, we'll try both of them, see what happens here. Let's go ahead and in the CSS, we'll do font dash size, and then go ahead and do 20 px for 20 pixels. If I run it and click me, oh yeah, they are a good amount smaller. You can probably argue that I should just not use H1s. I can use a smaller header, but I say this is more fun. And now let's try what Lucky was saying here and using font. If I just do font and type in Arial, which is a font style, nothing seems to happen. And that is because font is not actually a CSS attribute. It is actually called font family. Font family, font dash family. I know that's probably not the most intuitive thing CSS has ever done, but that is what you have to do. And as you see, our font now is a little bit more, not super 80s looking, or 60s, whatever. All right. Well, good job, everyone. And this actually shows the nice thing about jQuery. You just put in the actual CSS, basically. And for, little functions, it's super easy. It's like .click. Or .html to read the actual text. I will, real quick, once again, show you what you would do, how you would do it if you didn't have jQuery, if you didn't have this amazing library that's been out for years, that have it basically built, half the world. What would you do if you didn't have jQuery? Well, you would type in document dot get element by ID.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah. You're getting the PTSD flashbacks. Get an element by ID and then add event listener submit. And then you type in the function here. Okay, there we go. That's how you would make a button. A lot more words than just .click. Yeah, there we go. A lot more than this. And there's even more complicated stuff. It's not great. That's why jQuery is great, makes everything so much easier. All right. well, I think that's a good time to end the lesson. Hopefully everyone was able to learn something. If things are confusing, I will post the recording and you can go back and kind of see something. Also, if you don't remember how to do something, try looking it up, it's a good skill to get good at learning. Like if you don't remember, okay, how do I append or how do I add something to the HTML? You can type in maybe how to add tag to HTML with JavaScript. Or actually, you want to type in with jQuery. And then to elements, you get, oh, okay. So it looks like to answer your question earlier, Phineas' dad, you can do like after or before or prepend or append. Append is not the only way.
Okay, great.
But yeah, you can actually just see right here, p.append and the text. You mostly see people just use append. There are few reasons why you'd actually need to use after or before. Usually you just actually like put in, the higher up tag. But, if you wanted to look up how to add tag after a tag, or no, maybe, yeah, how to add tag before a tag in jQuery. You would get, looks like there's also insert before or just dot before. I know sometimes you can get like to a site like this and see, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. But if you scroll down, you do see Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is probably the best thing to ever be created. Basically, it's a place where you can ask, developers any question you want, and then you will get answers. Here, someone asked how to append before an element. They gave, the code they were trying to use and saying what errors they had. And then someone else went in here and told them the answer. Half your time programming will be looking stuff up on Stack Overflow. All right. Hope you were able to learn something today. I'll put in the recording, and for class, just try to use some parts of what I showed you here today, or maybe even parts from other classes, and try to make a fun little interactable website, and then post the link to it, the REPL link, to the Facebook group, either Facebook group or the Discord, and then anyone can look at it and go on it and see what it does. I will not see you this Friday like normal. I will see you again this Tuesday, or next Tuesday. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.